My name's Jon Legere, and I'm working on a bunch of paintings and some ceramics, some drawings, just kind of like a summer collective of work for the show.
My name is Nhuri Bashir, and I'm working on some printmaking, so using silk screening and combining that with collage. And obviously I'm a photographer, so using 120 film, combining film, collage, and printmaking into one show.
Awesome.
Lovely. My name is Jahbarri Wilson, and I'm going to be working on an installation plus just an experience, really. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Thanks.
Printmaking's one of my favorite. I didn't know you did that. That's great. Cool.
Yeah, you know what's funny? When I came back home from university, like one of the first things I bought was like this silk screening set or whatnot, like pretty large, the one that has 4 colors and
Yeah.
wheel it around and make shirts or whatnot. And I fell in love with the process. And then I started working in banking and fell out of love with everything. Right? So it's nice to kind of come back to it and connect that along with the photography side.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun medium. You get to really play around and mix with colors.
They work great together, right? Yeah.
Definitely sounds fun.
Yeah. And then, I'm a big fan of your work. So what kind of installation are we talking about
I
here?
appreciate that. So let's just say it's going to be beings taking over the space. And then like my artwork is their background. I think that's all I can say, really.
I love it. And I have no clue how you do ceramics. So what's that all about?
It's a first for me too. So it's I've always been a fan of it, but it's this is my first venture, and they're traditional face jugs. So face jugs have kind of been around for thousands of years in different cultures, like Egyptian, Roman, Aztec, and so they're contemporary face jugs, and I call them guardian jugs. And they've gone through 3 fires. So there's like a bisque fire, a glaze fire, and then a luster fire for the metallics. And but yeah, it was definitely a journey, because it was tough. But they didn't fall apart. They worked.
I was going to ask you, is it like fickle?
It's I want to make, so I'm going to hide them out in the environment out in Bermuda for this first round. I made 20, but I only brought 7 down. And I'm just going to hide them wherever I go and then play a game and just put it out on social or let people find them. But I want to make them out of clay because they can last out in the environment. They can last forever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least way longer than me.
Love it.
And so if no one finds it, it's okay.
It's totally fine. 'Cause somebody's going to stumble.
I think so, yeah.
Eventually.
I hope so.
But that's the beauty in it, right?
Yeah.
It's a part of the experience.
And there's little notes inside, so if someone finds it down the road, it might reveal a little bit of what this is. Or they just might be like, what is this,
What is going on?
And turn it in. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
we'll see if it works.
It will.
It will.
It will,
Yeah.
for sure.
It will. Because Bermudians and younger Bermudians are liking to explore now.
Yeah,
And just find different spots. So it will work.
I hid the first one yesterday.
Yeah? Hey.
Yeah, for the Masterworks crew to try and find.
That's wicked.
So it's the prototype. But
And
yeah.
so you're giving clues for it? Or?
Yeah, it's going to be, all the clues are going to be in the room through the drawings and the paintings and the work. So, yeah.
That's wicked.
One of the hardest things right now is making the puzzles in the game. It's the thing that I'm finding the most challenging right now. Because I don't want to make it too easy, but also not too hard, right? It's like,
You want people
it can't be
to
too
find
obscure, Yeah, eventually, maybe.
They got to make like 2 of them the most obscure. And then,
Yeah.
So that's a cliffhanger to get find them or something, And those are the best ones. I love it.
It's, So a lot of your work is portraits that I've seen, but
Yeah.
is it going to?
So there will be no people in this.
Oh,
in this
really?
At all, yeah.
Cool.
So I have this very strange challenge when it comes to social media,
Yeah.
specifically. My everyday work is I'm an architecture photographer, right? So I shoot buildings, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times those are really beautiful buildings, expensive buildings or whatnot. But where I was raised, I wasn't raised around a bunch of beautiful buildings or whatnot. And when I say beautiful, meaning expensive, more so, like classical, beautiful. But where I was raised and how I was raised, everything around me was beautiful to a certain extent. So in this show, I would like to kind of turn everything on top of its head and bring eyes on things that people haven't looked at as beautiful before, and repurpose or re-show things in a way that I see them, and I see the world in shapes and forms and colors that don't exist, because as a photographer you add color, you take away color, you play around with the images that you create. So this will be 99% architectural in its base. I won't say no people. The people that will be in there, it will be large space, small people. So people will make up many large.
Maybe for scale.
Exactly, just for scale. So for me, it's all about and the process of using film, color negative film, and even just the name color negative. Where you create this image, but you have to reverse the image to be able to actually get the color print or the color scan. I think that has a strong, deeper message also, so sometimes what you get, until you reverse it or look at it differently, you won't see the beauty in it, you know? And so the whole concept behind the show is to take things and change the way that they appear, to be able to make them beautiful.
With colors and
with
Silk
color,
Screen's
shape,
perfect
and
for
form.
that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to fly back.
All welcome. Everyone's welcome, and that's it. And it's also attainability, right? For me is, I've never been an art buyer, but I've always loved art. I travel around, I see beautiful art. I go to beautiful homes, I see beautiful art. I come to galleries, I see beautiful art, and I've always loved to create it, And I think that there is this, there's a lack of accessibility into the selling of art, and so I like to bring as many people together to be able to see that things that this is possible. You can be an artist from anywhere, right? And it's
That's great.
that's a big part of it, right?
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to be inclusive.
That's it.
Definitely.
That's me, Yeah.
I'm kind of sort of on the same path. I just want everyone to know, you can be a collector, you could be a creator.
Exactly.
Just try it.
Yeah.
But as a creator, I'm also trying to figure out how to balance out to make stuff affordable for people.
Yeah.
So, but also have my high-end stuff, because I cannot create small, because I like creating huge. But then I know I want to provide for people that don't have big incomes and large incomes. But
Yeah.
Is your work, does it vary in size, scale, or is it?
what do you mean?
Do you work real big or real small?
I usually work big. My studies and my sketches,
Yeah.
kind of small, sketchbook size. So anything bigger than 6 feet is usually what I like working at.
Nice. That's a good size.
Yeah.
6 feet is a good size.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think scale is important,
Very.
especially in art, so when you come in and you can see something that's impressive, even the human form. If you take the human form and show a picture this big, and you see it one way, but you blow it up to the side.
Changes the whole meaning.
It has a completely different meaning, right? And so scale is important. But yeah, I'm really excited to see your show.
I'm excited to
I'm
see
excited, and I'll be here for both.
I'm excited to be on the adventure, and then excited to see how you play with different mediums on top of your film, or however. I'm not even sure if it's on top, but just
so it's a lot, right? And
collage excites me. So
collage excites me, right? And so I think one of the questions that you was asking earlier about were like influences, right? So one of my big influences was is David Carson,
Yeah.
right? So and David Carson is huge in collage and implementing printmaking and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
into his work, and he was influential in like the surf and the magazine world. Looked at as like a graphic designer, but more art than graphic.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's collage is a form where you can pull things apart and put them back together and create them anew from things that existed. I think it's brilliant, right?
Very brilliant. Very.
I mean, the cenotype, that's kind of like a collage, you know?
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Use natural flowers, just things I found on the ground, and
So-
then had the sun to help me.
Yeah, that's
dive
great.
right in. So I like using nature. I like just playing, honestly, playing with anything I can get my hands on. Play is a big part of why I create.
Yeah.
It's funny, like, I mean, I take life serious, you know, and I don't want to say I'm not a serious guy, but for me, I don't want to bring that energy into my artwork or the room when, you know, it should be playful. It should be, I think, fun, and otherwise, why waste your time
the
making
point.
it if it's not fun, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's definitely something that's important for my work is to just have a great time doing it, and hopefully bring enjoyment for people that are around it. Yeah, maybe that's what unites us all.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the thread you guys.
It's fun, yeah, all fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like, my fun comes from when people tell you you can't. You know what I mean? Like, that's the most fun for me, you know? It's like, so I can. You know, like, you know, I definitely can. You
Fuels
know,
the fire.
Exactly, right? And so, like, as a film photographer, you know, if you go in the film chats and all the purists and stuff like that, they're like, oh, when you get a film, like, scanned back, you can't do anything to it. Like, it has to stay the way it is, right? It's a film, you can't. So from jump, I said, okay, cool. I can, and I will, you know, like, it's not even a question about that. So with film, and just like, and I've even got like a whole bunch of development equipment here to process the film and all that kind of stuff here.
So you do it all yourself? Wow.
Well, I
A lot
will
of
be
it,
doing
yeah.
most of it for this show.
Amazing.
Yeah. There will be some pieces that I had done before that I'll be using, but for a large portion of what will be in the show, I will have shot it, processed it, scanned it all here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, that raises a question for me, like, because working on this, I live in Brooklyn, but, you know, I grew up here and here all the time, but coming here, I was like, I got to make sure I have enough materials, or how am I going to get my materials? It was part of the process. And you just started talking about, like, it's like materials is a thing here, right? It's like, it's hard to come by, but I also feel there's a crutch when you have an art store around the corner, or you have like an art store that you can just go to and buy paint or buy stuff. It actually, I think it kind of forces you into I'm going to use this acrylic, or I'm going to use this canvas that's already been stretched, so I think what's great about Bermuda for me is not having the materials and trying to figure out, like, how am I going to make it, and what am I going to do, and you push yourself a little bit more, like if for scale, like if you're going to make a 6 foot, like do you use canvas, or like how?
I do use canvas, but it's not stretched.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out how to stretch that by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make the
Or-
frames yourself, probably, right? Like,
yeah,
it's.
most likely.
I think that's good. I think that's a good journey, because it just looks better if you made the wood yourself. You know, it's like there's something that if it's prefab or it's made, or you just get it at the store, there's something that it feels that way a little bit, doesn't it? It's almost like it lacks a little bit of a soul. So I think, like, it's that's what I find fun too here is making the materials that go into everything.
Yeah, I think in both of you guys' work, what I see, like the word that I would describe it is soul. There's like, like there's a lot of, you can feel the person, the creator, in the pieces themselves, like, you know, and so.
Thanks, man. That's kind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. that's what I really love. That's why I'm happy to be in the lineup with you guys. You know,
No, this is a
'Cause
wild lineup.
Yeah, I can appreciate that you guys' work is awesome. You know.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, it's great. You guys are, everyone.
I'm a newbie. I'm getting.
Not really. I mean, it's like, what is that? What is a newbie?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I'm a newbie too, I hope.
Yeah.
Want to keep growing.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of, because I'm a little bit out of the scene. Maybe this is a better question for you guys, but is there a lot of, do you feel like there's a lot of people that are getting into the arts here, like right now, or do you think it needs to be encouraged more? Maybe it's always got to be encouraged more, but
It's always got to be encouraged more, for
I
sure.
think so, yeah.
Is it more people? I don't think it's more people, but I think they're just getting seen more.
Agreed.
They're just showing more.
oh, cool.
So
Great.
they've probably always been creating, but just squirreling it off to themselves and just keeping it to themselves. But now it's just like, oh, okay, let me show it. Let me
Nice.
share it.
Is it typically in the traditional like museums and stuff, or like are people creating their own shows?
It's,
Like at the house or I used to do shows at Rock Island all the time. And for me that was like I was so lucky that Lisa Bett let me show there because it was like a jump off. Like it was it was a small room, right? But it was enough to like where do you, because Masterworks is kind of like, this was intimidating growing up. It was
Yeah.
like, but where do people show? Like, is there a little spot for people or?
Well, just in doing photography, there are a number of like small collectives. Like
Yeah.
in St. George's, they have
Oh,
a
cool.
collective where different artists work together to maintain a space and then show their collective pieces there. Honestly, there are also like art agents. There's
Oh,
a
really?
few. There seems to be.
Yeah.
That work in that space. I think that personally, like when I look at some of the younger people, and using young loosely, you know what I mean? Like when I see yourself and I see Jardé and I see other people that have created a platform for themselves, like there's this, it's almost like social media has become that gallery
Yeah.
that you're talking
That's what I
about,
was gonna say.
as opposed to like the traditional gallery, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people make their work, they show their work on their online space, and then I think they're connecting with people in that way, and then they have, like physical meetups, but I think the physical meetups end up being more artistic than just hanging out.
Yeah,
you know
cool.
what I mean? Where there's a photographer that would go and take shots of him while he's doing his art piece,
Yeah.
and that aids in their portfolio, while it also aids in his portfolio, and likewise the same with me. Like I work with other artists, you know what I mean, like that are smarter than me in certain things to be able to assist me in how do I deliver this, like how do I get this piece done?
Yeah.
So it's almost like collectivism in art.
That's great.
But
I think it's important because it wasn't so. I mean, I'm a little bit older probably, but it wasn't so much. When you found someone that made art, for me when I was growing up here, you like cling to them and you're like, let's go make art. Like let's like, because it becomes a partnership or a collective, or like you need that energy too.
Yeah.
And looking from Brooklyn, it looks like a lot's happening here right now. It looks like, in a good way, like it looks like a lot of people are kind of into it and doing different things, and I get excited about that. So yeah, cool.